Hey guys, it's McGann. I was at Gen Con doing press and I'm about to show you my interview with Kyle Shire. He made this new game called Queen by Midnight. If you have not heard of it yet, you will soon because it looks fantastic. And I think you guys are going to love Kyle as much as I did because he is such a sweetheart and you can see how much he loves this game and how much it means to him.
Hi, I'm Kyle Shire, and I'm the creator and designer for Queen by Midnight. A little bit of a long one, but I'll try to make it as truncated as possible. Back when I was doing stand-up, one of my all-time favorite comedians, Jackie Cation, she became a good friend of mine, and I was hanging out with her husband a lot, who makes video games, and at the time, I had this idea for like a fighting game, because I was working at fighting games that would involve princesses. And I had the hubris of having lunch with Jackie's husband, Andy Ashcraft, who makes video games. And I was like, hey, I have this idea for like a fighting game that's like princesses. And he was like, oh, that's a really cool idea. Do you know how to make video games? And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, okay, well, do you have money to pay people who know how to make video games? And I was like, no. And he was like, then don't make a video game. And we had played Magic the Gathering before, so he knew I was really into cards. And he was like, you should figure out a way to make this a card game because card games are a wonderful, inexpensive prototype that you can make with just by printing out Excel spreadsheets and putting them in cards, little card bags basically. And I had gotten laid off from my job at Machinima, and I was kind of rudderless and didn't really know what I was going to do with my life. And this game became a weird life fest for me. It gave me a reason to get up in the morning and spend 3 hours working on my game and then, go and apply for jobs and, work odd jobs essentially. But like this game was the job for several months. Writing it and playtesting it. I playtested it well over 40 times before I hit the jackpot basically and got a job producing for Critical Role. I knew that I wanted to do something with it, but I wasn't sure what it was going to be because I knew that I could kickstart it possibly, or at least try to, but I had just started this wonderful full-time job. Like, when was I going to do that? And so I just put it on the back burner, and when Darrington Press started up, I wanted Ivan to just take a look at it, mainly just to like see what his opinion of it would be. And so this was during COVID, so I had the whole game loaded up on virtual tabletop, and he watched us do a playtest of it, and the rest is history. He decided to buy it. It's really strange and wonderful and surreal to see these princesses like fully realized, and to have gotten to collaborate with so many wonderful people like Amir Sheikh, who's our artist who did the character design for these, did all the character art, and like brought her own style and her own ideas to these princesses and made them 20 million times more beautiful and cool than I ever would have imagined. Working with Alex Uboldi, who was the game's game producer, it was his idea to do a tower that was three-dimensional, that actually moved, and you could put the bizarre cards in here, and so it allows you to kind of move the tower around so that you don't have to move around the table to read the cards. Just getting that input from so many wonderful, talented people, I really feel like made this game the best possible version that it could be. I kind of weirdly think about this game like a person in a weird way. I think about how this game like kind of saved me in a lot of ways, and seeing it in this final incarnation, I'm just kind of like, I'm proud of you. Like this is what you deserve. You deserve to be this beautiful, wonderful, well thought out thing because of what you were able to do for me. Thank you, game.
I love that story. That's the best story. So do you get to be a full-time game designer now, or are you still doing the other job as well?
I'm still producing. Whether or not, I honestly have no idea how that's going to pan out. But I'm still producing for Critical Role right now. Thankfully, you had wonderful people like Alex Uboldi handling a lot of the grunt work at this while I was still working at CR. So.
What was your favorite game growing up as a kid?
Oh boy. Growing up as a kid? I was a huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan growing up as a kid. Like, I was all about it, and I will never forget how embarrassed I was going into my first Yu-Gi-Oh tournament because I didn't bother to read the rules for Yu-Gi-Oh. I only knew the show, and this was before Battle City, where they actually started using the rules from Yu-Gi-Oh. And so I just walked in with a deck that was like this big, and had no idea what I was doing. It was like maybe 9 or something, that was the first time that like somebody at a friendly local game store was like, "Hey kid, let's talk." It was embarrassing, but also like one of the first times I really felt like I had some semblance of community at a friendly local game store. So thank you to the Yu-Gi-Oh player out there that explained that to me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I had a similar story with Pokemon. I wouldn't go to the league until I played it on the Game Boy to like learn the rules because I had no idea.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about the game? I can come film over your shoulder.
Wonderful, sure, absolutely.
And you can kind of give us the best demo where I can't mess it up.
Yeah, no worries. So this is a deck building game, and so you are playing as one of the 6 princesses of 12-fold. You are all battling it out before the stroke of midnight. At the stroke of midnight, the princesses that are still left standing count up their health and their clout, and whoever has the most, whoever has the highest number, is the new Midnight Queen. And so in order to do that, you have to build a deck that is deadly and potent and, will allow you to, take people out and last until midnight. And so it is asymmetrical in that every single princess has their own vibe, has their own play style, their own different tactics. So every single time you play, you're not going to have the same experience, which is really fun. There are 2 places to purchase cards because, again, it's a deck building game. And the first place that you can purchase cards from that I want to highlight is your vault. So these are your vault cards. Every princess has a vault. And these cards are specific to that princess. Only you can purchase these cards. So like if I'm playing Freya, I can only purchase, I'm the only one who can purchase these cards. And then the other place that you can purchase cards is from the bazaar, which is right here. These cards are open to all princesses to purchase from. The only stipulation is that the cards in the bazaar need to match one of your 2 classes. Because each princess has 2 classes. There are 3 total, but each princess has 2 out of the 3. So there's Brawler, Schemer, and Caster. So Freya here, for example, can only purchase Caster and Brawler cards. So if Freya were to purchase cards from the bazaar right now, she could purchase Gift of Wonder or One Step Ahead, but she could not purchase Tea Party because she's not a schemer. Okay, so basically you purchase cards and, let's say I purchase this card. All right, I want to purchase that by spending clout. We'll get to that in a sec, but basically every card you purchase goes into your archive. This is your deck, and when you run out of cards from your deck, you basically take your archive, you shuffle it, and that becomes your new deck with all of the brand new cards that you have just purchased. Clout is your kind of catch-all resource money term, essentially, and you generate clout from a variety of ways. Every princess has a starter deck of 10 cards, and they consist of things like copper, which are worth 1 clout, and then there's silver, which is worth 2, and there's gold, which is worth 3. You have a gather power and a mine and a flex. Basically, these cards get you clout equal to your minor caster levels of your levels. So every princess has a major and a minor score with their levels. So Freya, for example, caster brawler, major caster score of 5 and a minor caster score of 3, and a minor brawler score of 2 and a major score of 4. And so those stats can increase and decrease throughout the game. There are abilities that allow you to kind of buff yourself, and there are also abilities that other princesses have that will give you debuffs. So like, for example, if I were to buff myself, if I were to buff my caster score, I would just put this doodad right here. And then that way, now I have a caster score of, major caster score of 6 and a minor caster score of 4. And here you go.
That is very cool.
I know.
I'm trying to be good in interviews and not geek out too hard while people are talking, and it's hard. It's very difficult.
You got this dice right there. Pretty cool. And then the other cool thing is here's the knob, all right? So you turn it, and that's how you count the rounds, basically.
Oh,
all right?
nice.
So yeah, and then depending upon how many players you have, it determines where the clock begins.
And that
Correct.
Corresponds to the front here.
Exactly. So if you have 3 players, you start at 1 o'clock. If you have 4 players, you start at 2. 5, you start at 3. And 6 players, a full house, you start at 4 o'clock. The other thing that's really fun about this game is that as the clock progresses and the stakes get higher in certain ways. All right. So one of the ways that plays out is the different types of bazaars. You begin with the afternoon bazaar, and the afternoon bazaar consists of cards that are a little more about clout generation. They're a little bit more about pokes and jabs, nothing major. But then when you get to 5 o'clock, all of these cards, all of these afternoon bazaar cards right here, these are the afternoon bazaar cards, they get banished. all right, which means they get taken out of the game. They're done. And they get replaced with the Twilight Bazaar. The Twilight Bazaar is when the heat starts to get turned up a bit. So you start to get cards like Cudgel or Telepathic Whispers. That's when you start to get cards that have a little bit more bite to them, a little bit more spicy. And then you get to the Midnight Bazaar at 8 o'clock. Again, the Twilight Bazaar gets banished, and then you bring in the Midnight Bazaar cards, and those cards are where stuff gets real crazy. You can get cards like, you can become a Lich with the Deathless card, where your health goes down to 1, but you cannot die. There's a lot of really fun stuff in that. The other fun thing that happens as the game progresses is one of my favorite mechanics in the game, which is the Inner Circle. And that happens at 6 o'clock. Basically, at 6 o'clock, at the top of the round, every princess goes through these cute little cards right here, all right? And all of these cards have the other princesses' faces on them. And what you do is you pick one, and you put it right here, and you do it secretly, okay? And what this is that in the event that your character drops to 0 health and dies, you flip this card, and you reveal who you've declared for. And if the princess you've declared for is still alive and does not already have an advisor, you become a member of their inner circle. And you gain this ability where basically you do not die. At the start of her turn, you have one of 2 abilities that you can activate. You pick which one. Your leader does not command you to do that. You pick which one you want. And basically you help them kind of win. You're kind of the queen maker in a way. So there's a bit of a social element to the game where it's like, you can bully up on people if you want, but be careful because whoever you strike down may end up becoming more powerful than you could possibly imagine. So that's at 6 o'clock. And then the other thing I want to talk about is at 8 o'clock. So at 8 o'clock, what gets unlocked is your war chest. Every princess has a war chest that consists of 3 cards, okay? The first 2 cards are basically 2 boons that are 3 to buy and 0 to play. And the whole idea behind these is these cards are meant to kind of exemplify your princess's individual playstyle. That give you boons that are specific to your princess's playstyle and win conditions. The win condition is the same for every princess, but like how they win is a little bit different. So Freya, for example, has Terrorizing Presence, where she gains 2 clout for every attack card she plays because Freya is a little bit aggro. And then you have Conditioner, because I'm worth it. Basically with Conditioner, you may re-roll 1 die during your turn and use the best result, because Freya has a lot of cards that deal with dice. The third card, and it's one of these beautiful foil cards that we have, limited edition here at Gen Con, is your ultimate ability. Every princess has an ultimate ability that is 6 to buy and 6 to play. You purchase it just like any other card. It goes in your archive, and when you draw it, you can play it as long as you have the clout. And basically, these are their big, ultimate abilities that are going to, hopefully knock people out if they can pull it off. Freya, for example, has an ability called Cruelty of the Curls. Bosno has the Fairest of them all, where she, steals clout from everybody and then deals damage equal to the clout that she's stolen. And Hephaestus, my wonderful paladin princess, has Glorious Charge. Where she, transmutes an army out of, sparrows and nightingales and charges her opponents. So that happens at 8 o'clock. And then at 12 o'clock, basically, the 11th hour is the last round. And then at 12 o'clock, the game is over. You know what? I'll do like a little brief kind of overview of everybody. So we have Hephaestus, the Lightbreaker. She's a pretty easy character to pick up. She's all about defense and healing. She is a paladin to the core, but she also has the highest brawler level in the game. You do not want to mess with Hephaestus. Don't piss her off, all right? She is a paladin, and instead of a glass slipper, she has a suit of armor that's made out of unbreakable glass and a giant hammer. And then you have Freya right here, Blood of the Tower. Freya is a character that is sort of like a Rapunzel type character. If you took Rapunzel and kind of made her a little bit of a Cenobite, it's this idea of her hair is her weapon, and she can suck people's blood out with her hair if she wants to. And then you have Boss Snow, who is a character that is the princess of the Twilight Forest. And basically, she is a up-jumped crime boss that is now the princess of this loose confederacy of towns, and she uses a network of magic mirrors to spy on her constituents. And she also has a notorious gang of assassins called the Seven at her disposal. And then over here, you have Erdine, the Gilded Champion. They are actually not the true princess of their home country. They are impersonating their mother, who is the real princess, Princess Batsetseg, who is currently too sick to attend the Rule by Midnight, so they have donned their mother's armor and are charging into battle under their guise. They're a really fun character because they're all about taking their time and basically setting up these really big, powerful moves that just do boffo damage out of nowhere. So if you see a player playing Erdine and they're kind of, not attacking and taking their time and doing things like buy time, watch out because they're going to pop off and it's not going to be pretty. Then you have Rosalind, the Oniromancer. Rosalind is the princess of the Ephemera Fields, who at one point in time plucked a briar rose that belonged to a very petty fae who cursed her with visions of the future. And now she basically has the ability to dream and create prophecies with her dreams, represented in the form of these prophecy tokens right here. Rosalind's whole deal is to generate these prophecy tokens and then use them in a variety of ways. You can spend them to negate attack cards. You can also spend them to generate clout. There are also other ways that you can spend them to deal damage to people or even to heal yourself. And then you have Dr. Lux, and I like to say Dr. Lux is both Beauty and the Beast. She is the Scholar Supreme of Rising Board. And Dr. Lux's whole thing is that she is a scientist. She is technically a princess, but she wants you to go by Dr. Lux. And all of her cards are based off of kind of the scientific method. And her playstyle is very high risk, high reward. So she has a lot of cards that deal with dice rolls that can have wonderful boons to her playstyle, or they might come back and hurt her. So if you're kind of a gambler, Dr. Lux is a fun player for that.
Wonderful. Do you have a favorite of these princesses?
Oh my goodness. It's difficult to say because I love all of them equally.
You're a good dad.
I love all of you equally. I will say though, Boss Snow is kind of my love letter to three of my favorite women in entertainment, I guess. I don't know. She's kind of my love letter to Emma Frost, Selena Kyle, and Madeline Kahn. And eagle-eyed people will look through some of her cards and find some fun references to Clue if you're able to pick it up. They used a lot of my flavor text, which is really I'm shocked. I was like, I didn't think it was good enough, but cool, I'm glad. So there's a lot of fun, silly references throughout it, and I hope people enjoy it. But as much as Boss Snow I think is my favorite to play, I will say art-wise, I'm continuously stunned by Rosalind's art. I think Rosalind might have some of my favorite art in the entire game. I'm just absolutely in love with it from head to toe. It's just so evocative. You look at it and it's just stunning. I just want to know every single thing about that character based off of just the look in general.
She does, really draw you in there.
Yes.
It's the eyes, maybe. Just
it's the pupilless eyes of what are you seeing right now?
Is there anything else that you would like people to know about you, the game, anything in general?
No, I think that's about it. I don't know. Yeah, I hope you guys have fun playing it because I had so much fun making it, and it's a good time. Anyway, I made this game because, like I said, obviously Boss Snow exemplifies this, but all of my favorite characters growing up in every piece of media I ever consumed were always the ladies. And I was raised by a single mom with two older sisters, and I literally grew up looking up to nobody but women, and I didn't have anybody telling me that was weird or anything. And so I just hope this game, I hope that this game out there makes, ladies and femme presenting people know that there is always going to be a space for you at these, in these gaming spaces. And I hope it makes you feel a little bit seen, and I hope it makes you feel a fun little power fantasy while you play it.
And that is a wonderful thing to point out for a game designed by a man, and I don't mean that offensively, but usually you see the gigantic breasts and the really over-the-top body figures, and they're all just they're very beautiful and they look dressed appropriately.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. I'm sure a lot of other women out there appreciate that.
And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against a fun big titty anime lady game, especially the ones that are cheeky and made by women. But yeah, the vast majority of them are not, and I can imagine that being just a little bit cringy after a while. So I hope people play this and are like, oh my god, there's so many different types of women and femme presenting people that are, making you feel fun, making you feel alive. So,
well, good job. On behalf of womandom everywhere, I'm giving myself the authority. Good job.
Thank you so much. I do it for you guys.
Okay, guys, that's the end of the interview. Thank you for watching. I'll try to get you a link to the game below, but I don't think it's out yet. Bye. And to any of my members here on YouTube, a huge bottom of my heart thank you for all of your help and support. If you would like to become a paid channel member, there is a link in the description below. Thanks again, guys. Love you. Well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that? Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Family. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Family and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos like you helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members. Bye.